Hello. Is the screen visible to you now?
Yes, sir.
Huh. So just before some time, we have discussed the two types of the fault. One is the normal fault and second one is the reverse fault. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss the next type of the fault. Okay. So in the next type of the fault, the first type is the step fault. Okay. Step fault. Now, what is the meaning of step fault? As the name indicate here, the fault here looks like the steps. Means it is a series of fault. More than two or three fault planes are there, and they they are formed in step-like pattern. That's why it is considered as a step fault. Okay, it is a series of fault plane. More than one fault planes are there. That's why it looks like the step-like pattern here. Now just wait, I will show you how it looks like step-like pattern and what are its characters, etc. So the when you look the definition of the step fault, it consists of series of parallel normal fault. Okay, so it is a series of parallel normal fault. When you look any uh, fault here, it is a series of normal fault. Okay, so how they are normal fault, just I will show you. So consider only first two blocks now. Okay, so consider only these two blocks now. Now regarding with these two blocks, okay, what is where is the fault plane? So here this is the fault plane. Okay, just I will mark here with the white color. So this is the fault plane in these two blocks. So the block which rests above the fault plane, okay, that block is considered as a hanging wall, and the block which rests below the fault plane is the footwall in these first two blocks. So what you see here, the hanging wall moves downward direction. So this block moves towards the downward direction. This block moves towards the upward direction. Means hanging wall moves downward, footwall moves upward. So this is the character of the normal fault. Okay. So this type of the fault is considered as a normal fault. Now consider the second and third block now. Hello, just wait. I have one call. I will back with. Yes, yes, hello. Within 2 minutes, just wait. So just wait for 2 minutes. I have to share my screen again. Now is the screen visible to you? Hello, is the
Yes,
screen
sir.
visible to you? Okay. So just wait. I have forgot all these previous drawing which I have made here. So regarding with the first two blocks we have discussed, these are the normal faults. That is, this is the block which moves downward direction. This is the block which moves towards the upward direction. We have discussed regarding with this first and second block. Now consider the second and third block now. Okay, just a minute. Now consider these two blocks, second and third block. Now what will you see? It it looks like first two blocks. Okay. Again, this block moves downward direction. This block moves towards the upward direction. So it is again normal fault. Now consider block number 3 and 4 now. Okay. Consider block number 3 and 4 now. Now these last two blocks. So here in these two blocks, third and fourth, this block moves downward direction. This third block moves towards the upward direction. So again, it is a normal fault. So when you look from first to fourth block, what you noticed, all these are the normal faults. Okay, all these are the series of normal fault. Okay, it is a series of parallel normal fault. Parallel means when you look all the fault planes, look all the fault planes. So this is the fault plane number one, this is the fault plane number two, this is the fault plane number three. All these fault planes are parallel to each other. Okay, that's why it is considered as a series of parallel normal fault. Okay, where the hanging wall block is displaced systematically on the same sides. Okay, on the same sides they are systematically displaced and giving rise to a step like structure. Okay, so due to this faulting, all these blocks are look like this, and it looks like the step like appearance towards the top side. That's why it is considered as a step fault. Okay, so it is considered as a step fault. It is also known as a parallel series fault. Okay, so the another name for this step like fault is the parallel series fault. Okay, so this is about the third type of the fault, that is the step fault. Okay, now we will move the next towards the next fault, that is the host and graben. Okay, so these are the two fault, host and graben, host and graben. Now what is in this host and graben, that we have to know. Now when in two parallel normal faults, two normal parallel faults, again here more than one or more than two faults are there, the middle block is uplifted relative to adjacent block to form a ridge. The structure is called host. Okay. Now here consider the now this is the first block. Now this is the second block. This is the third block. This is the fourth block, and this is the fifth block. Okay. Now five blocks are there. Now consider type of the fault. Okay. Now what will you notice here? Consider the fault planes. Now suppose this is the fault plane number one, this is the fault plane number two, this is the fault plane number three, this is the fault plane number four. Okay. Now look at first and second block. First and second block. This is the fault plane, and this block rests above the fault plane. So it is a hanging wall because it moves downward direction. This block moves towards the upward direction. So it is a footwall in the first two blocks. Okay. Now consider second and third block. Second and third block. This is the fault plane, the block which moves downward direction, which rests above the fault plane. ओके, या फॉल्ट प्लेनच्या वरती रेस्ट झालेला हा सेकंड ब्लॉक आहे, सेकंड आणि थर्ड मध्ये. त्यामुळं हा जो मिडलचा ब्लॉक आहे तो हँगिंग वॉल असणार आहे आणि हा काय असणार आहे, फुटवॉल असणार आहे. ओके, दिस इज द फुटवॉल. Now here again the hanging wall moves downward direction, footwall moves upward direction. That's why it is again normal fault. Now consider third and fourth block. Consider this fault plane number 3, which is in between third and fourth block, the block which rests above the fault plane. So it is again hanging wall, the block which rests below the fault plane. It is the footwall. So this hanging wall moves downward direction. This footwall moves again upward direction. That's why it is again normal fault. Now consider block number 4 and 5th. Fourth and fifth. This is the fault plane. Block number 4 rests above the fault plane. That's why it is hanging wall. It goes downward. This is the footwall. Block number 5 is footwall, which rests below the fault plane and which moves upward direction as compared to the hanging wall. So all these are the normal fault. Okay, it is again series of normal fault. Okay, all these are the normal faults. Now we have to know what is the meaning of host. Okay, now consider block number 2, 3 and 4. Consider block number 2, 3 and 4. Consider only these three blocks. Consider second, third and fourth number block. What you see, the middle block moves upward. Okay, the middle block moves upward direction. So here this middle block moves upward direction and adjacent two blocks moves downward direction. So such a type of the arrangement is there where the middle block moves upward direction and the two adjacent blocks moves downward direction. That time it forms a ridge. Now what is the meaning of ridge? Here the meaning of ridge is that mountain, or it is also considered as a hill. Okay, mountain or hill. So this third block, which is middle block, looks like the hill or mountain because it is elevated as compared to the two adjacent blocks. आता ब्लॉक नंबर 2, 3 आणि 4 हे तीन ब्लॉक जर तुम्ही व्यवस्थित बघितले तर या तीन ब्लॉक्स मध्ये तुम्हाला डिस्प्लेसमेंट कशी बघायला मिळते, तर सेकंड, थर्ड आणि फोर्थ मध्ये जर कन्सिडर केलं तर थर्ड नंबरचा जो ब्लॉक आहे तो अपवर्ड डायरेक्शनला मूव्ह झालेला बघायला मिळतो आणि सेकंड आणि फोर्थ नंबरचा जो ब्लॉक आहे ते खाली गेलेले तुम्हाला बघायला मिळतात. तर जो थर्ड नंबरचा ब्लॉक वरती अपलिफ्ट झालेला आहे तो माउंटन किंवा हिल सारखा दिसतो की ज्याला आपण रिज म्हणून कन्सिडर करत असतो. रिज म्हणजे काय, माउंटन और हिल. So when such a type of the arrangement is there, means more than 2-3 faults are there and all they are normal faults, and when the middle blocks moves upward direction, then such a type of the structure or such a type of the fault is considered as a host type of the fault. Okay. Now in host fault block mountains are formed. म्हणजे या टाइप मध्ये मिडलचा ब्लॉक माउंटन्स तयार करत असतात. Numerous small and big examples of the host are found in major mountain systems such as Alps and Himalayas. Okay. म्हणजे ज्या मेजर माउंटन सिस्टीम्स आहेत वर्ल्ड मध्ये, इंडियाचा जर विचार केला तर इंडियामध्ये हिमालयन माउंटन इज दी वन ऑफ दी मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट माउंटन चेन. And in this Himalayan mountain chain, such a type of the small and large host and graben type of the faults are in numbers. Many numbers we can see in the Himalayan mountains. In many hosts, the faults are almost parallel in strike and very high angle. Okay, means they are parallel to the strike and the angle of the fault is maximum angle. Okay, so when you look any angle here, just I will show you one angle here. Just check this angle. So this is just minute. I will show you with the another color. Now check this angle. Okay, this angle is the high angle. So or this angle is the high angle. Okay, so host means when middle block moves upward direction, adjacent two blocks moves downward direction. Only remember this. Such a type of the fault is considered as a host type of the fault. Now graben. Graben is opposite to the host. It almost reverse to the host in structure and appearance. Hostच्या बरोबर opposite मध्ये असतं. Now what is the character of the host graben type of the fault? Two parallel normal faults. The middle block is moved downward direction related to the adjacent blocks. The structure is called graben. Okay. Now when you look here in this fault, now consider first, second and third block. Okay, consider these three blocks, first, second and third block. Now what you see here, the two blocks which are adjacent, sorry, the two blocks which are adjacent, they move upward direction and the middle blocks moves downward direction. That's why this middle type of the block is considered as a graben type of the fault. Or you can consider fault number, block number 3, 4, and 5. The third and fifth block moves upward direction and the fourth block moves towards the downward direction. So again, it is a graben type of the fault. Okay. So only remember that in the host, middle block moves upward direction. In the graben, middle block moves towards the downward direction as compared to the two adjacent blocks. Okay. So such a type of the fault is considered as a graben type of the fault. Now, another characters in the graben are opposite to the host. आता बाकीचे कॅरेक्टर सुद्धा ग्रॅबन मध्ये होस्टच्या अपोजिट मध्ये तुम्हाला बघायला मिळतात. इन ग्रॅबन फॉल्ट दी डीप बेसिन्स आर फॉर्म्ड. ओके, डीप बेसिन्स तयार होतात. होस्ट मध्ये काय तयार होत होतं, माउंटन्स तयार होत होते कारण मधला ब्लॉक वरती आलेला होता. आता ग्रॅबन मध्ये काय होतं की ग्रॅबन मध्ये मिडल ब्लॉक काय होतो, डिप्रेशन तयार होतात असे. ओके, मिडल ब्लॉक्स मध्ये असे डिप्रेशन तयार होतात, बेसिन्स तयार होतात. like Alps, Himalayan mountains, you can get the number of graben type of the faults are there. Uh, they are very high angled, like the host type of the fault. The grabens are generally associated with the host, means host and grabens are simultaneously present in the same area. The origin of host and grabens is believed to be due to lateral tension in the crust in most cases. म्हणजे अर्थच्या क्रस्टमध्ये स्ट्रेसेस डेव्हलप झाल्यामुळं अल्टरनेट स्ट्रेसेस डेव्हलप होतात. काही स्ट्रेसेस अपवर्ड डायरेक्शन मध्ये असतात, काही स्ट्रेसेस डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन मध्ये असतात. दॅट्स वाय we get such a type of the alternate blocks. One block moves downward, one block moves upward direction. Again, one block moves downward direction, upward direction. So alternate up and down you can see in the series of the fault, and all these faults in the host and graben. All these faults are normal type of the faults. But when you compare step fault and graben fault, in the step fault you can see that all these faults are showing step like appearance, but in the host and graben type of the fault, alternate blocks moves upward direction and downward direction. Okay, so this is about the host and graben type of the fault. Now you can see here in the host, the high mountains are formed. In the graben, deep basins are formed. Valleys you can consider to the graben. From that valleys, the rivers may be flow. So here, such a type of the host and gravens you can consider in the mountain systems. Here you can clearly see that here these are the host where I have written H. Okay, so these are the host which shows the mountains, and the depression part is considered as a graben. Okay, so that depression part we can see the valley portion, V-shaped or U-shaped valleys are there. So this is one of the field photograph of the host type of the fault. Now when you look here, you have to consider this is the one fault plane, this is the another fault plane, and when you consider this black layer, what you see here, the middle block moves upward direction, the adjacent two blocks moves towards the downward direction. So this is the host type of the fault where middle block moves upward direction and adjacent two blocks moves towards the downward direction. It is in the small scale fault. Okay. Now again, this is the graben type of the fault. Now how it is graben type of the fault? Just see, this is the fault plane. This is another fault plane. Okay. So on this fault plane, this block moves upward direction. Again, this block moves upward direction, and this block moves towards the downward direction. So it is a graben type of the fault. G for graben. Okay. So host and graben are simultaneously present in the areas where such a type of the parallel series of the faults are there. Okay, host and grabens are simultaneously present there. So next, I have to discuss with you, that is the next structure is the unconformity. Okay, but it is not possible to cover these unconformity points in these remaining 10-15 minutes. Okay, so